Okay, I think I'm almost finished here. I'm almost ready. And you're starting to talk about your weekend already, what you're going to do on tomorrow night and where you're going to go. If you're teachers, I think tomorrow you're probably teaching, which means a work day for you. Before I begin, let me ask, how many of you are teaching elementary school age students? Can I see a raise of hands? Okay. Middle school? High school? Adults? Okay. Younger than elementary school, kindergarten? A couple? Fantastic. Looks like you have lots of experience teaching lots of different students. Let me ask you another question. How many of you have been teaching for 3 years or more? 3 years or more? 5 years or more? 7 years or more? 10 years or more? I won't go beyond that, okay. For those of you who have been teaching for, let's say, even 3 years or more, of course, every year you're teaching 8-year-olds or 9-year-olds, right? 10 years old. Are your students changing? Are they changing in any way? Yeah? And I mean, not the same students, but like this year you get a 9-year-old. Next year you get another 9-year-old. And the next year you get another 9-year-old. Every year, are those 9-year-olds changing? Okay, yeah. That's a very interesting point. 2 years ago, I was my job. I get to travel a lot to talk to teachers, and I was talking to university professors in Taiwan, and the university professor was saying, "Yes." I asked them, "Are your students changing?" They go, "Yes. Now they do not respect the teacher." Right? Yeah? Yes. Now they do not work hard, right? Another professor said, "But our teachers were saying that about us 20, 30 years ago." Another professor said, "This is actually a good thing. This is a good thing." Why? Students today question a lot more than they used to. This makes it more difficult for us sometimes, right? But it also gives us an opportunity. If they are questioning, why am I doing this? Why do I have to do that? Why this? Why that? That's actually an opportunity to change how we teach and how we interact with the students. Now, I think all of us would agree it's a big challenge, but it's also an opportunity. But it's also a very important opportunity because right now, what does the schools, they want to, I should say the government, what do they want students to have when they graduate? It wants them to be able to think, right? Critical thinking is important, right? Being able to do research is important, right? To be able to interact with the rest of the world is important. So if our students are asking why, that's an opportunity to help develop these skills. Okay, let's check the computer. Today we have about a little more than an hour. Okay, I'm going to leave some time for a question and answer at the end. And today I want to talk about really two things. One is how our students are changing, and what that means in terms of what we teach. What do we have to teach? What do we have to think about because our students are changing? Secondly, I also want to focus on things you can do in the classroom immediately tomorrow. Okay? And thirdly, I want to talk to you about something that's very exciting for me. If you have a book in front of you, can you look at the top right here? Okay? What do you see? Do you know National Geographic? When you think of National Geographic, what do you think of? Nature, environment. What else? Science. Anything else? Technology. Beautiful pictures. Anything else? Documentaries. Fantastic. Anything else? Okay. These are all things that are part of National Geographic. We think of science, math, history, culture, people, stories, pictures, videos, documentaries. These are all things that we think about. And if you think about what we want our students to do, we want them to work with content in math and science and history and culture. So I think it's a great opportunity to bring in something that's very real and share with our students. So I'll be talking a lot about National Geographic today. So I'm very, very happy to be here. Let's go forward here. I'm going to talk to you today about how we can make reading more of an adventure for our students. It's also how we can make it more of an adventure for ourselves to make it a more interactive process. Okay? Reading should be an interactive process. When you read something, you read a great book, you tell a friend about it, right? Or you think about it. You watch a great movie, you share that with a friend. So as we teach, we should make it an interactive process. So we're not just teaching reading, we're also practicing writing, we're also practicing speaking. I also want to talk to you about multimodal input and the new literacies. Multimodal, are you familiar with that term? Yeah. Not really. I wasn't familiar with it either. Okay? Let's look at this word. Multi, what does multi mean? Many, various. Modal is an adjective form of mode, M-O-D-E. What is mode? A mode is either a system or a way or a type of something. Okay, a type. Many types of input. Okay, many types of input. Multimodal input. And if you think about today's world, how do you get information? When you want information, where do you go? Okay. Do you have lots of multimodal input when you want information? Yes. When you go to the internet, sometimes you read, sometimes you watch a video, sometimes you listen to a podcast, sometimes you watch TV, right? Sometimes you read a newspaper. These are all types of multimodal input. Okay? And I want to talk to you also about the new literacies. Okay? You're probably familiar with literacy. Why? What does literacy mean? Okay? Traditionally, literacy means the ability to read and to write, yes? But today, many educators are talking about the new literacies. There are many different ways that we must become familiar with working with information. And I'll talk about these and how important these are, that we are educating our students how to work with these. Okay. But first I want to give you a quiz. Fantastic. Okay, good. Okay, first question. What's the average number of hours spent online per month for a Korean? You don't have to answer, just think about it. Okay. Question number 2. In Korea, the average number of hours spent watching TV per week. In Korea, number 3, average number of hours spent studying a day for a, elementary, middle school, high school student. Okay. Think about that. And number 4, globally, not just Korea, but around the world, how do people spend their time online? What do they do when they're online? Okay. Okay. Do you have your answers? Okay. Very quickly, find someone next to you. Share your answer with the person next to you. Can you find someone? Just share your answer very quickly. You can guess. It's okay. Thank you. I can tell you are English teachers because some of you are doing the math and you're going, oh, just joking. Okay. Average number of hours spent online per month. Average Korean. Any guesses? Okay, I hear high of 60, low of, I heard 30. The answer is 30 hours. We have a prize for her. Please give her a round of applause. All right, well done. This is from 2012. This is a online data collection agency. Bonus points, do you know which country had the highest? Okay. The highest was 45 hours a month, Canada. I don't know why. It's very cold. I don't know. It's nothing to do. Actually, I was surprised Korea was low. Okay. I'm not sure why. It may be how they, I don't know if they counted online on mobile phone or not. Don't know. Interesting. But still, 30 hours a month. I think many of us spend much more time than this. Average number of hours spent watching TV per week in Korea? 70, 15, 10, 13 hours a week. Okay. This is already a little bit old for Motorola, 2010. Okay. But less hours watching TV than online these days, right? In fact, in Tokyo, I don't have a TV. I only watch my computer now, okay? Average numbers of hours spent studying a day in Korea?
More than 10 hours.
Okay. Many of our students, probably more than 10 hours, but the average is 7.3 hours a day, and that's across Korea, okay? I think if we did a survey for Seoul versus other parts of Korea, probably a big difference, right? But yes, many students spend a lot of time. This is actually 3 years ago from the National Youth Policy Institute in Korea. Okay, 7.3 hours a day.
Is it including homework?
This includes in-school and after-school programs. I'm not 100% sure it includes homework. I think it does, but again, I think if you look at Seoul, probably much more. And how do people spend their time online? This is an easy question for all of us. What do you do when you're online? Surfing? Shopping? Fantastic. What?
SNS.
SNS? What's that for?
Social network.
So social media or social, yeah? Anything else? Education? Oh, I don't know. Here's a chart again from this, I can't see that, from that same source. It shows what how they spend their time. Social networking, searches, reading content.
Yes.
Yeah? Emails, multimedia, music, video, and shopping as well. Okay? We do this already, right? You and I do this already. Our students are going to do more and more of this, right? And are we preparing them for this? Traditionally, we don't, right? Traditionally, we don't. I want to put on a teacher hat. I gave you a quiz. Why? Sorry?
You want to listen to answers?
Yeah? So I want to interact with you, yes. One. Why else? Draw attention, yes. I get you to think right away. What else?
You want to emphasize how much you're using your online much more than the last days, so you want to just emphasize that.
Yep, so I want to get you to focus on a point or content. Any other reason? Yep. I want to activate background knowledge, prior knowledge. I want to find out what you already know, right? Find out what you already know. And you all know this, if you're teaching reading, you always want to find out what students already know, okay? Because if they already know a lot, your job is easy, right? And then you don't have to spend so much time on teaching the content. If they don't know anything, then you have to spend more time on the content. So always finding out prior knowledge is very important. Many of you are probably familiar, I don't have a whiteboard, but there is a technique called KWL. Do you know this?
Yes.
What does K stand for? What do you know? What do you already know? And W is? What do you want to learn? And L? What have you learned, right? So using this as you are preparing your lessons, as you are teaching material, is a good way to format your lesson. Interact with the students. What do they already know? Okay? Do they have questions? Okay, what do they want to know? Or what gaps do they have? After you teach, then L, review. Tell me, what did we learn today? Okay? A lot of good teaching materials will follow a KWL format. The book you have in front of you follows a KWL format. But don't look at the book yet. Yes. You're all excited. I will show you some examples of that. Okay. That was my just teaching hat, okay? As a teacher, whatever I have to teach, I think, how can I get students involved? How can I find out what they already know? Okay? Every single time. I talked to some of you earlier about the challenges of teaching. Many of you said motivation, especially if you're teaching middle school students, right? Very challenging to get them involved. And I always ask everyone, do your students love English? Okay. Some of them do, right? And you can be speaking in French and they will learn English, right? Because they love English. Let me ask you another question. Do some of your students hate English? Yeah, some of them do, okay? Materials are important, but materials alone will not engage the student. That is why you have a job, to engage the students and find a connection, okay? So as a teacher, I'm always asking myself, I need to teach this content. How do I get my students into this content? How do I make it connect to them? Sometimes I must be very creative, right? Here's an article about the pencil, right? But they have to read it. It is good vocabulary. It's good grammar practice. I must do it. So I must find a way to get them interested. So maybe I give them a quiz about the pencil. When was the pencil invented, right? How old is a pencil? What's the most common color of pencils, right? And if my students are still not very motivated or weak in English, I give them multiple choice, right? Maybe I have to create this, right? Some materials have it there. And then I make them think. And then go to find the answer in the material. I think 75% of my time as a teacher, I spend trying to trick my students to do the work. Yeah. If I can think about that, how do I get them? How do I motivate them? Trick is the word I use. Well, they think, oh, yeah. Then they think, oh, this is fun or easy. And then they go into the material and they interact with it. Because is learning English easy? No, of course not. It's hard, right? So we have to make them feel happy about doing difficult work, right? Because nobody naturally feels happy about doing difficult work, right? So always trying to think, be creative, right? It also pushes me. Okay, this is a quote from Michael Wesch, who was the U.S. Professor of the Year a few years ago. And it's that idea of literacy means more than just reading and writing in today's world. That was from the International Reading Association report 2004. Okay. Traditional literacy, insufficient. Futures, right? And in Korea, what are our parents thinking about? Their children's future all the time. Korea, as you know much better than me, a very competitive place, right? Always thinking about their future. And if we as English teachers only think about traditional literacy, we have to think about it, it's our job. But if we only think about this, it's not enough to prepare students for that world where they're interacting with multimodal inputs. Okay? This one, a lot of information there. You can read that. Again, you are all educated, critical thinkers in this room, right? But for many of our students, they struggle with this, right? Because everything is all mixed up together, right? And there have been many cases of high-profile people around the world who take things from the internet, copy and paste, right? People who cannot distinguish real and not real, okay? So this is actually becoming a huge challenge for us. And this was actually highlighted over 10 years ago, that this is the future, and now we are there. Okay? If you think about how our students are different, traditional versus new literacies, there's some descriptors here. Twitch speed versus conventional speed. Twitch, any idea what twitch is? If you think about speed, conventionally we go A, then B, then C, then D, right? Twitch speed, you go A, B, C, D, A, B, D, C, E, right? That's how we interact with new media today, right? How many of you have gone to Wikipedia, look for something, end up someplace completely different, right? But then you can make your way back, right? Parallel processing versus linear processing. Traditionally, again, A, then B, then C. Parallel, A and X, A to B, X to Y, B to C, Y to Z. I have to do two things at once. Multitasking, if you will. Okay. Pictures first versus text first. In the past, we teach by looking at words and reading words. Now, we look at pictures first, right? Random access versus step-by-step. I attack content from many different areas, and I do not always follow the same format, right? Sometimes I start here, sometimes I start here, sometimes I start here. Okay. Connected versus standalone. Multimodal, video, audio, text, online, versus just text. And also, I think you can even extend this to people. Reading or interacting with content before was an individual process. I open a book, I read myself. Nowadays, students interact with other students, other people. They use chat, they go online. That's how they're interacting with the world. There's more, active versus passive. It's very interesting, I think, if you look at today's society, right? Society, people, students, are more active than ever. They're online, they're chatting, they like to talk to each other, they gossip, they do all sorts of things. Where maybe our generation was less interactive, right? You just knew your friends and you go out and play. But in the classroom, it seems our students are more passive. Yeah? Now, is that because our classroom is stuck in the old style? Yeah? So we as teachers, again, have to push ourselves to be creative to create an active classroom, right? Interesting. This as well. Our students these days are much more interested in play. And the line at work is very, how many of you, I work in an office, I check Facebook in the office because I have people I do business with on Facebook. I like companies that I do business with on Facebook. Sometimes I get more information from Facebook now than I do from traditional areas. Another colleague, he tried to have a work Facebook profile and personal life Facebook profile. After 1 year, he gave up because the people you work with are often the people you play with. Very interesting. But for students, they interact with content by playing with it, right? This one's big. Payoff versus patience. Traditionally, I work hard, then I get reward. Students these days, I want reward now. Payoff, right? Am I right or wrong, right? What is this? Instant results, okay? Again, that's an opportunity just like I gave you a quiz at the beginning, very quickly you have payoff. Am I right or wrong? Okay. This one, fantasy versus reality. Okay. How many of your students play online games or play games? Almost all of them, right? Maybe some of you play games online, okay? And that border between what's real and what's fantasy is changing a bit, okay? Again, it's an opportunity as teachers. If we have content that's different from their reality, we can bring them into that content. It can still be nonfiction, but different from what they see every day. And technology as friend versus technology as foe. How many of you, don't raise your hands, just nod your heads. If you're honest, how many of you are a little bit afraid of technology for teaching? I am. Okay. And what's interesting is some surveys about students and how they interact with technology is that students find working with different technology very easy. They switch between platforms very quickly. Teachers actually have the bigger challenge because as teachers, naturally we want to be in control, don't we? We feel it's our job to be 3 steps ahead of our students, right? But with technology, sometimes it's very difficult to control. Right? Okay, why is this important? All of those things, if you think about those things, think about 10 years ago, 2002. Oh, geez. 10 years ago, I know. 10 years ago, there were 10 jobs that really did not exist or existed in a different form than they do today. Okay? And these are very fast-growing jobs. Okay? I heard one presenter talk about the top 5 jobs didn't exist 5 years ago. I didn't find out where that source came from, but I did find this. Okay? Can you think of any jobs that didn't exist 10 years ago? Application maker, yes. Designer for mobile applications. Anything else? Professional gamer. Yes, that's a very Korea job, I think, actually. Anything else? Number 1, mobile application designer. 2, market research data miner. So you get data, collect data, right? Everyone now is talking about data. Google collects data, right? And then you use that information to try to understand your market or your customer. Educational admissions consultant. Okay? Your job is to help students get into the best university or best school, okay? Social media manager. Okay? Companies now have this position. Chief listening officer. Okay? You know chief executive officer, right? Chief listening officer is to listen, to find out what people are talking about or thinking about in their company. Whoops. Okay? Interesting, huh? Cloud architect. You know the cloud where you store data, how you design those clouds? Elder caretaker. This is actually a big topic in Korea right now, right? In Japan, where I live, there's a big industry to create things for people who are getting older. Sustainability expert, talking about the environment, how you keep things moving. User interface designer, right? You all go to websites that are easy to use and some that are not, right? And one more, this one, which I put something there and I erased it because my computer had a problem. Let me double check. Here it is, search engine specialist. Design a search engine to do a better job, okay? 10 years ago, most of these jobs did not exist. And you can tell they are fast growing. And if our students want to go into these type of fields, they have to think about information in a different way. Okay. Here you go, new literacy, new skills, not about just decoding written text. Decoding, right? Traditionally, one word, what does it mean? One word, what does it mean? Put together, what does it mean? Okay? Manipulating and making meaning. Making meaning. That is critical thinking right here. I look at information, visual, text, audio, oral, and I make meaning, right? A range of semiotic codes, including visuals and sound. And again, people were talking about this many years ago already. Okay? And the future is here, it's now, right? So as teachers, we must give students a range of different types of inputs. I won't go through some of these. These are some of the things that students are using already, or we are using. We talked about these already. There's lots of things to talk about social media and what that means for students. When you use social media, as our students use social media, it means that whatever you put up on the internet will stay there forever. You can find, anybody can find you, right? You can take something and just copy and paste, right? But if you are savvy, if you are very comfortable with technology, you can make yourself invisible and even do terrible things if you want to with the internet. Okay? This is actually quite an old study from a university in the Netherlands. It said teenagers were using internet chat rooms 13 hours per week, which is actually not so surprising. But this next one was more surprising. 56% of teenagers said their parents were not doing anything with them or talking to them about it. But those same teenagers, over 60%, wanted help dealing with problems when they were chatting with people on the internet. Okay, let me go forward here. Also, mobile phones, text messaging is changing the way that we interact. How many of you have asked students to write an essay for you, and it comes back too informal? Have you had that happen? I don't know. In the past, I always had the opposite problem. Paragraphs were too formal. Now I see students, especially university students, too informal. Okay? Because of the way that you interact, you squeeze text, you use a spoken mode in a written medium. So this would be a written form. I don't like it, but I'm feeling okay about it, about something. But in a text message or on a mobile phone, you might write this. Okay? So how students are interacting with the material makes a difference in how they actually produce language. Okay. What's also interesting, again, opportunity. This is a study in the US. Traditional literacy is mostly pen and paper, but pen and paper expose people who have low literacy. If I'm not good at reading or writing, I use pen and paper, I have to show it. If I am not confident, I do not show it, and I'm not motivated, right? And another study said that students do not think critically about the use of new literacies. Sometimes you'll hear speakers say, oh, young people are very comfortable with technology. They're comfortable, but they're not critical about technology. And if you can integrate these literacies as a teacher, you can identify content that will be of interest. If I have content, if I give it as a reading, some students may be not motivated. But if I give it as a video, now maybe more students are interested, and then I can give them the text. Or if I give them pictures first, and then a text. Okay? Some of the other consequences, I don't spend too much time on this. Teachers became learners, and students became teachers. This is a study on the use of technology in the US. The teachers' main role were facilitators of critical thinking. This has become huge in K-12 in places like Australia. We had a consultant who works with school teachers in Australia. And when they do comprehension questions, We all do comprehension questions, right? They always ask who, what, where, when, and why. And now, if the students cannot answer why, they can answer all of these. But if they cannot answer why, do not pass. Okay? Because we know our students are very good at cracking who, what, where, and when, right? But why requires you to go beyond the text. Why does not have one right answer. Maybe there are many possible answers. So that why becomes really important. And this makes sense if you look at the tests. TOEFL test, IELTS, give reasons and support those reasons why you think that. I was doing presentations on critical thinking. I was in Taiwan last month, so I was in Taiwan a lot. And I was talking again to university professors about critical thinking. Because teachers at university level, even middle school, high school level, are being asked to teach critical thinking. But no one's really sure what critical thinking is. So I asked them for a definition of critical thinking. And this one professor gave an excellent definition, I thought. She described critical thinking is a logical, personal opinion. I thought that was fantastic. If you're going to make it simple, that's a pretty good simple definition. It's an opinion, no right or wrong answer. It's personal, it's yours, but it's logical. It's based on some information, you can back it up. Now this is a challenge for us as teachers because it's easier for us to teach right or wrong. Right? Only one answer. But now what we have to evaluate is not, is the answer right or wrong, but can you support your answer? Have you supported your answer? Where did you get this information from? Right? Does your answer make sense based on the question? So now it's not about is it right or wrong. Does it make sense based on the evidence? So as teachers, we have to start looking at that to evaluate our students. Okay. And also, if you're using new literacies, you must have a clear learning outcome. What do you want students to get? Okay. There are lots of new literacies. This is a very big one, visual literacy. Can you read images? Okay. Can you read images? Media literacy. This may be things like videos. Can you read a moving image? Critical literacy. Can you look at information critically? Is it real? Is it trustworthy? And cultural literacy. Can you interact with different cultures? Okay. And I'll talk about each of these in sequence. Again, this is traditional. We look at a reading passage, lots of words. When your middle school students look at this, what do they think? Yeah, they have usually one of two reactions. They go, oh my God, so much English, right? Actually, English may be easy, simple, right? They go, oh God, this is good, oh, right. This is boring, you know. And also, more importantly, to them, not connected to their lives, right? Now, they will need it when they go to school, right? So you have to find a way to bring that to them. But this is what they're used to looking at, right? Lots of different things to look at, right? Parallel processing, random access. Okay. Oh, here you are. What do you see? Fish. Yeah, look at the fish carefully. What do you see here? A line. Anything in here? Maybe difficult to see. Maybe if you open your book to page 47. What kind of fish are these? Fish. Robot fish, okay. How many fish do you see? 4. What colors fish do you see? Red. Fantastic. Okay. Why are there robot fish?
Not real.
Not real, right?
Maybe the fishes have a camera, and the fishes go under the sea and they collect data, visual data for the
Okay.
researchers.
Fantastic. Maybe the fish have cameras, so we can learn something about something underwater. Any other idea?
What is acting river or sea? What is acting
Okay.
sea?
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Good. Right. Another a student said, for fishermen to practice fishing. Okay. So there's lots of ideas there. Okay. Now again, these are opinions, but they're all valid. Let's look at something else. Look on page 63. What do you see? Gold. What else? Coins, money. Good. Where did it come from? Ship. Fantastic. Some of you right away saw the caption that says ship, right? Okay. Now, this is how you read images. And teaching students to read this is very important. I remember I came to Korea 7 years ago. Was it 7 years ago? Yeah, 7 years ago. And I was talking to a group of advanced teachers. And I showed them a picture in a textbook. And the picture was a rock. And on the rock were some pictures, some drawings. And I asked them, what do you see? I see a rock. Okay, what do you see on the rock? I see some pictures. Good. What do you see a picture of? Animals and people. Good. How old is the picture? And someone said, 1,000,000 years old. Someone said, 100 years old. Someone says, 20,000 years old. Correct. How do you know? It says so right here. Okay? That reading of images is very important for students, okay? But also using the image to get them thinking about what it could be, okay? To get them interacting with the image. Let's find another one here. I think I have another one up here. Okay. What do you see here? Building. Good. Anything interesting about the building? Okay. It's twisting. It's moving. Okay. 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 Why do you think it's moving? Okay. Sun power? Like a sunflower? Okay. Okay. So we don't know. So KW, why is this moving? Why is this building moving? Okay. So training our students to use KWL is a great way to get them thinking. Okay. And the research from test takers who ask themselves questions do better on the test. Because when they ask themselves questions, then they read, they try to answer the questions. So training your students to ask themselves questions is important. Michael, my students are lazy. Of course. So you must give them charts to write down their questions. Okay? So I will have my students with a KWL chart, and every class I will use that. So I want to see my students write down things. This is really important because as much as we want students to speak, sometimes students don't have enough background knowledge to speak about something quickly. So they have to think about it. So asking them to think about it and write it down gives them time to think. Then I can ask them and they can say. So any type of organizer where they organize their ideas is going to help them organize their thinking and become more critical. Okay. Here's another picture here. Okay. Where is the photographer standing? Okay. On a tower. Okay. Top of a building. Okay. Is he looking up or looking down? Looking down. Good. Okay. And then these are all ways we can start to bring in those images. If you can, I'll go ahead here. Here's another example. of an image. This is a technical drawing, right? Okay. This is also something that helps students interact with. Here you see a labeling activity. Okay. Good visuals have good labels, right? So we can teach our students how to label pictures. At the same time, they are practicing vocabulary when they are doing that labeling. I was at well, I'll talk about this in a little bit. Okay. Media literacy, I'm sorry that's not so clear. Media literacy or digital literacy is the idea of looking at moving pictures. Okay? You read a video, you read moving images too, and you use strategies like gist, prediction, and inference. Okay? When I was in Hong Kong 3 years ago, I was at a conference, and the keynote speaker said, we as language teachers must teach the 6 skills of language. 6 skills. Okay, your reaction is the same as mine, right? I know 4 skills, right? Reading, writing, listening, speaking. But this keynote speaker said there are 2 more we must add. Any guesses what they might be? Thinking, but you must think critically all the time, right? You must analyze all the time. Okay? Grammar, you use all the time, right? You should use all the time. Okay? These 2 more that she said, and they reflect literacy, new literacies, is that we must teach the skill of what she called viewing. Viewing. So to see something. If I get visual information, how do I understand that information? If I watch a video, how do I understand that information? Okay? Because the way you process a video is different from the way you process reading. Okay? And video is interesting. You have listening plus image, which is different than just listening. And so viewing, she called it, or she called it interpreting, not translation, but to interpret visual information is the receptive skill, like reading or listening, viewing. The 6th skill, what do you think that is? Yes, creating or presenting. She called it representing information. Can you present information visually? Okay? So I have information I need to give. Can I create a poster? Can I create a video to present that information both visually? So she stressed that we have to add this 5th skill and this 6th skill to make students prepared for this new era we live in. And since then, I've been to many conferences where teachers are doing very exciting things with video, with YouTube, with digital cameras, with presentation tools and PowerPoints. A teacher was saying that she now asks students to do a presentation 10 times in a semester. So I thought that was interesting in terms of how we can get students to interact. And again, you think, KWL. L, what did I learn? Usually we just have students, they either write, I learned about ... or maybe they paraphrase. But if they can present something visually, a poster, pictures, a video, a presentation, that's an application of that knowledge they've gained. And the world is about applying knowledge these days. Okay? For the book you have in front of you, because we include National Geographic content, that means we have a video available to help reinforce the vocabulary, the structures, the content you are teaching. I'm talking about all of these things, but it always comes back to we still have to teach vocabulary and grammar and words, right? So everything we do must reinforce that. Can I show you a video? Okay. Okay. Here are a number of videos up here. Volcanoes, talking about a cheetah, an amazing trip, solar cooking, treasures under my home, plants, the solar system, the Olympics. You see science, you see sports, you see animals, all sorts of things we can look at. Let's look at the cheetah versus the gemsbok. Do you know what a cheetah is? What's a cheetah? It's a cat. Okay. It's a fastest cat. Good. Anything else you know about a cheetah?
My friend.
Your friend. Your friend's name? Wild animal. Good. What do cheetahs eat?
Meat.
Meat. Okay. Do you know what a gemsbok is? So, cheetah versus gemsbok. What do you think a gemsbok might be? Okay. Another animal. Okay. We said cheetahs eat meat. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Okay. We are going to watch this video with no sound. Wait. Okay. I want you to watch the video. As you watch the video, I want you to think about a couple of questions. Okay. First, how many cheetahs do you see? Right? What's their relationship? When you see the gemsbok, think of how you describe the gemsbok. How many eyes, how many legs, these type of things. Okay? And remember, no sound. Okay. How many different cheetahs did you see? 3. Some of you think 3, some think 4. What do you think their relationship is? Boyfriend, girlfriend? Okay. Any other ideas? Brothers? Any other ideas? Okay. Okay. So, and as a teacher, I may put these on the board as possibilities. Okay. And did you see the gemsbok? Yes. How would you describe it? Long horns, yes. Looks like a deer. Fantastic. Okay. Kind of bison, I don't know, maybe. Yes, good guess. And anything else that is happening that you think is interesting? The cheetah didn't catch or kill the gemsbok. Yeah, okay. Fantastic. Anything else you noticed? There was a bird. Fantastic. Okay, great. Now, let's stop right here and talk about what we did as a teacher for the activity. First, I show you the video with no sound. Why?
Let them guess.
Okay. Yep. Yes. Right. Correct. 1, I want them to focus on the image. if I put the English on, some students, what do? They listen to English. Or worse, they don't listen, turn off, right? English I can't understand, right? So I want people to focus on the image, okay? And another reason is as they focus on the image, they are creating meaning, right? They are guessing, they are predicting what's happening. Oh, this is what's going on. And even if they are thinking in Korean, it is then easier to put in the English, right? Okay. Another reason is some classes, all classes, sometimes you have students whose English is and some students whose English is not so, right? English is off, everyone is the same level. Okay? Also, I want to give you a task, right? As you watch this, answer these questions. So I give you something to do, okay? To draw you in. Because, again, some students like animals, some students like learning about animals, some students do not, right? So I must find a way to draw you in to get you thinking. The task I gave you, I could change in many ways. I can make it more difficult by saying, watch the video, what's happening, take notes, and now share with your partner, describe what is happening. Quite difficult. Or I can make it easier, watch this, no sound, list the animals you see and what actions they are doing, right? The cheetahs are playing, the cheetahs are running, the bird is singing, the gemsbok is taking a nap. I don't know what it's doing there, right? So you can change the activity and make it easier or more difficult for your students. If you want to make it really easy, again, you write up multiple choice answers for them to use. Okay? And in the book, you will see some exercises for that previewing. Okay. Stop. You are now students again. Do you want to watch the video with sound? Yes. Okay, good. Another reason why. Back to teachers. Motivation. I can ask them, no sound. What's going on, teacher? What's going on? What? Are they boyfriend, girlfriend? Or are they brothers? I don't know. We want to know, right? So do you want to watch with sound? Yes, teacher, let us listen to the English. Tricking them. I am tricking them to do something that I want them to do, okay? So let's watch now and find out, are they boyfriend, girlfriend, brothers, what's happening, etc. Sound on.
It's morning in the Kalahari Desert in Africa. A mother cheetah calls for her children. Where are they? She can't find her cubs. The two cheetah cubs are playing. They find a gemsbok in the grass. It's alone and hurt, and they are hungry. The gemsbok is too big for them to kill. Even the mother cheetah cannot kill it. The mother cheetah calls again. And the young cheetahs leave the gemsbok. Cheetah mothers look after their cubs until they are more than a year old. Then the cubs will go away, and she will be alone again. When female cheetahs grow up, they usually live alone. But sometimes, brothers like these stay together their whole lives. The brothers run and play together. They also hunt together. Today, the brothers are hunting without their mother. They find a lot of gemsbok. The hunt begins. The cubs catch a young gemsbok. But the mother gemsbok sees that her child is in trouble, and she is not happy. She doesn't want the cheetahs to kill her child. She goes back to her child and helps it. after the cheetahs. She wants them to go away. The mother Gemsbok can kill cheetahs, but today she doesn't hurt them. For now, the Gemsbok can go home to their family, and the cheetah family is safe too. It's the end of another day for the animals in the Kalahari.
Okay. Interesting? Okay. So were they boyfriend and girlfriend? No? What was their relationship? Okay. Family mothers, a mother and two brothers. Okay. Two brothers or cubs, right? A cub is a baby cheetah, right? Okay, good. Lots of things you can do with this video. I was too slow, but I should have paused when the cheetah had the baby Gemsbok and the mother was coming. So right there, I was too slow. Pause. And two things happen. One, students go, ah, right? And then you can do a speaking activity. What do you think happens? Does the baby Gemsbok live or die, right? And the students can guess, right? Or talk, right? If they're high level, what happens next? I think the baby Gemsbok gets away. I think the mother gets away. If you can extend it, critical thinking. Why? Okay. I think the cheetah will kill the baby Gemsbok because it has big teeth, right? Because it is fast. I think the mother will chase the cheetah away because the mother is big, right? She has long horns, right? So you can extend this to critical thinking as well. So a pause button can be very effective to keep motivation. If you just watch a video, put in watch. Students, watch this. It's good for you. Students are smart. They think, why am I watching this? If the only reason why is because my teacher told me to, not a good reason, really. Okay? Short term, enough. But long term, you want that internal motivation. Why am I watching this? Because I want to answer these questions. Why am I watching this? Because I don't know what's going to happen next, right? And that can be motivational. If you're doing, even if you're doing traditional comprehension questions, with the subtitles, you could watch this 3 times. Short video, 1 time, no sound, do activities, practice vocabulary and grammar. 2nd time, no subtitles, check your answers, comprehension questions, right? 3rd time, after you comprehension questions, answer comprehension questions, check with your partner, A, B, C, D, A, B, same, feel safe, right? Or if different, something's different, we'll watch again with subtitles, check your answers, because you can read the answers there, okay? So you can watch something many, many times and get lots of practice each time, okay? Other things you can do, did you see them talk about the brothers? They have a relationship, what they do together. They play together. What else do they do together? They hunt together, right? They kill together, right? And some of my students will say. You can extend this. What do you do with your brother or sister? What do you do with your family members? Again, this is, you could say this is science content or National Geographic content, but my job as teacher is to always keep it connected to their lives. And that's what good learners do, is I look at this and connect, right? Good learning is not about linear. It's about everything coming together, making connections. A good scientist will say, this is what cheetahs do, what do elephants do together, right? Right? So you can help them do that by extending to their lives right away, right? So lots of things you can do with a video, okay? And if I have time and motivation and technology, go home, make a video of you with your brother or sister doing things together, right? And even if you take pictures, right, and then can present them, middle school students can do this. They can do it pretty easily. And they can there's software to create something. And then if you have a YouTube site for your classroom, they upload, other students vote which one is the best. Wow, motivation. Biggest problem for us as English teachers is that English is not real for our students, right? They leave class, no English. Why am I doing English? I don't need it for anything. But if they create a product, other students interact with it, now I have a reason to work hard. Right? Again, don't worry about technology. A professor at a conference in Cambodia, another Q&A, says, I don't know technology, what do I do? What if a student asks me questions? Professor says, don't worry about it. If you tell the students this is part of your grade, they will figure out how to do it. Student comes to you, how do I do this? Don't ask me, ask somebody else. They will ask other students who know how to do it. Students are very smart. They're lazy, but lazy and smart is the best combination. Because you will find the fastest, most efficient way to get things done. Okay? So take advantage of that. Okay. Just to let you know, this is a video that's available as a DVD for the teacher. If you don't have equipment, there is a website where students can watch the video. This is the website. The name of the website is here. It's also on the back of the book. Here students can watch all the videos. There are also extra activities, practicing vocabulary, grammar, and video. You can even watch the videos from a mobile device through the internet. Okay, so students can interact with it anywhere. If you're at home, if you're a home teacher and you have a pad, you can use that to do activities in class. Okay. Look at this picture, visual literacy. What do you see? Tsunami, yep. City. Anything you notice about this picture? Any questions coming up? It's a bit hard to see. Okay, what? Hair? Sorry? Okay. Interesting. I think it's because it's too bright. Do you think this picture is real?
I don't think so.
Mm.
The tsunami has come to the kind of very peaceful beach.
Mm.
That's the other country.
Okay, excellent, okay. Tsunamis in the past years, usually in some place not in a city. I have not seen this picture in the news. It's very high up here, but low over here, right? So actually this is not a real picture. Photoshop. Remember critical literacy? When you have so much information coming to you, our students must be critical about what's real and what's not real. And when they think something is real, again, why? Logic. If they don't think it's real, why? Right? I have not seen this before. So critical literacy is really important these days. Also, it's part of critical thinking, okay? Being critical of what you see. Because we all know anyone can publish anything online. You have to be critical of it. Here's just some quick tips for evaluating. We have to evaluate the author. Who's providing this information? Why? What is their purpose? Okay. Evaluate the information. Is it credible? Is it fact or opinion? This is really important. How do I distinguish the two? Do I agree or disagree? Why? Okay. Here's some, again, some samples from the book. Here you see some big ideas, some inventions. Okay. Again, pictures. What do you think this is? What do you see? Baby, and the baby's in some kind of bag, okay? What do you see here? Light, what do you think this is? Solar panel. This is difficult to see. This is a chili, a hot chili. And this is a grinder. Why do I need to grind a chili? Okay. When your mother, or when you make kimchi, what do you wear? Gloves. Why do you wear gloves? Protect your hands, okay? What do you think this is? Rolling drum. And inside it is something very important? Water, okay? These are all inventions, okay? I can have students look at these. They can then think about, I can do an activity for critical thinking, opinion. Which of these do you think is the most useful, right? Which one do you think will make the most money and why, okay? And then you can even do critical thinking. What is more important, money or being useful, right? Lots of things you can do with this. Here's some more critical thinking activity. This is a life straw. This is to make water clean. This is the Q drum to transport water a long distance. And here's a critical thinking activity classification. Here's the drum. Here's a life straw. Here are some descriptions. Some belong to this, some belong to this, and some all belong to each other. Okay? I'm sure you're very familiar with Venn diagrams. This is a good way to help students, again, start to make those connections. That's critical thinking. Lastly, so I'm running out of time, very quickly, cultural literacy. We have to have students, reading comprehension is not just decoding, but wide-ranging background knowledge. But Michael, my students have no background knowledge. Okay? We have to develop their background knowledge. Okay? And in fact, again, motivation. My students are not really interested in grammar and vocabulary. They need it, but they're not interested. But if I can show them KWL, what did I learn about myself, about my friends, my family, my community, the world, that is motivating. Okay? If you want to be effective readers, you must have cultural background knowledge, so you can start to relate, and not just to understand. How do I say this? Let me go back. Traditionally, when we were young, our teacher would sometimes teach us culture. When she taught us culture, or he or she taught us culture, what did she usually teach us? Do you remember? Facts. Okay, America is this big. Anything else? Just text. Usually information. You got lots. I remember getting lots of information. I studied German in junior high school, right? In Germany, people eat this for breakfast, right? In Germany, you don't ask this type of question. You don't do this. Don't do that. So now I am struggling to learn a language, and I'm also now worried about all these rules that I must follow. Becomes even more difficult. To teach culture effectively, what we must do is look for the big picture. What do we have in common with another culture? Because it is impossible to teach American culture. Can you teach Korean culture? Korean culture is which culture do I teach? Seoul culture or Jeju Island culture? Do I teach city life or country life? Do I teach someone who's very wealthy or about someone's life who's not so wealthy, right? Is it Korean culture today or Korean culture 100 years ago? So culture is very difficult to define and to teach facts. But you can ask students, look at this culture, what do they value? Okay? What do these people like to do in their free time? Okay? How do these people interact with strangers? How do you interact with strangers? Compare, contrast. And that way it becomes not rules. I do not do this, but I look for something in common. Because our students are, even if you teach them about American culture, what is American culture? Even if you can teach them that, they then go and use English in Malaysia. Not so useful, right? But I teach them the tools. When you meet someone from another culture, you can compare food, you can talk about what you value, talk about families. These things can help them interact very effectively. Okay? And it's not just the West, right? Not just American English-speaking culture, it's all cultures. Because English does not belong to England or America or Australia. English belongs to everybody who learns it, right? So if I'm a Korean, I should be proud of my Korean culture. And I should be able to share that with other people. Okay? Here's an example talking about Kilimanjaro. This is a very famous mountain in where? Africa. Now again, my students, maybe they don't care about Africa. But I know there are famous mountains in Korea. Yes? So first I may ask my students, can you name some famous mountains in Korea? Right? How tall is this mountain? What can you do in this mountain? Have you ever been to a mountain in Korea? What's your favorite mountain in Korea? When you go to a mountain, what can you do? Right? Then, do you know any other famous or tall mountains around the world? Do you know the tallest mountain in Africa? I don't know. W. What's the tallest mountain in Africa? Good. Then I slowly start to create that interest, then open, answer questions. What have you learned? Okay? That part of the lesson is really important, right? And that's your value, is you know your students. How do I get them from here today in the classroom to here what's in the book? And when you do that, the value is very strong because now they connect the two. And you can start to do critical thinking. Here's the tallest mountain in Korea. Here's the tallest mountain in Africa. How are they the same? How are they different? Which one is taller? Which one is shorter? Right? Kilimanjaro has a problem with ice. This is the snow and ice in Kilimanjaro, 1993, 2000, much less. Right? What are some environmental problems at a mountain in Korea? I don't know. Maybe in Mount Fuji in Japan, too many people go to climb Mount Fuji, so there's trash everywhere. That is a problem to compare, contrast, right? And I can even go further. How can we solve this problem? Create a poster and present. Product, application. Okay? But nonfiction is important. In Reading Adventures, the book you have in front of you, you also have fiction. Okay? This is a mountain in Africa. This is a folk tale from Tanzania, also in Africa, talking about the mountain. Okay? So you can give students both. If you're working with middle school students, it's very important to have a mix of fiction and nonfiction. Which do girls prefer, fiction or nonfiction? Generally, they prefer fiction. Not all of them. And boys generally prefer nonfiction. In fact, generally, boys find this, lots of pictures, easier to work with. And girls find it generally easier to work with this. Not always, there are exceptions, but if you look across this room, I see only one male teacher here. Hi. And a room full of women. Okay. I won't go through this here because I'm almost out of time. I just want to give you maybe a couple minutes for question and answer. The book you have in front of you is called Reading Adventures. It is designed, a lot of input from teachers in Korea because Korean students are moving very fast, much faster than students in anywhere else in Asia. And they need to work with content right now. The students that you are teaching, many of them want to go to special high schools. Yes? Where they have to do English work, other subjects in English. And that's designed to help them do that. There are three, you can't read that. National Geographic images. In the unit, you have a lot of focus on building vocabulary. There's a lot of focus on test-taking skills. This is not how to take the test, but skills like predicting, inference, finding the main idea, those will be practiced a lot inside of the book. As I said, the website is there, so you can watch the videos at home or on a mobile device. You are all intelligent teachers. You can look at the book on your own, and you can take this home with you. But I've found it a really exciting book, I think, for middle school or younger students to look at and start to really experience the world. Your challenge, as it is every day, is to connect everything together. But that's what makes our job really, really interesting and really exciting. Okay, let me go ahead here. Oh, let me show you some pictures here. This is about volcanoes. You have plants that eat bugs. Okay. This is the Olympics. The Olympics are coming up soon. Talking about my family. This is a boy who grew up in Africa with his father doing exploration. Again, lots of things you can do. What do you do with your father? What do you want to do with your father? Okay. Here's some of the topics here. Let me go back here. Reading passage, language practice. There is a grammar focus in each one. Okay. And there's that video. As a teacher with video, sometimes I show the video first. Students don't understand so much. It's okay. Then I teach, and then I show the video again, and hopefully their language has gone up, and they go, wow, my English teacher is fantastic. I'll just go through here. Here's that unit about inventions already. We've covered that. Here's a before you read section, focusing on vocabulary. Sometimes vocabulary, sometimes you will see words like Gemsbach, right? Gemsbach is not a word I want my students to learn. It's just for information, right? So be very careful. Don't try to teach every single word, right? Some words are just interest words. If they forget Gemsbach, I don't care. Probably my students, they will remember it because they like to remember these crazy words. But don't worry about that. Focus on these type of academic words that are useful for them. Here, scanning example is some of the strategies that are taught. Here you see gist, vocabulary, detail, purpose, test taking. Okay. More vocabulary. Word partners. Again, how do we help students develop their vocabulary? Friend, best friend, close friend, good friend, old friend, make a friend. This is how good learners learn vocabulary, right? Do you have your students create a vocabulary notebook? Often we think it's a good idea. Okay? Absolutely, 100%. This is not my vocabulary notebook. This is my notebook. Have your students keep a vocabulary notebook. Because after they finish book 1, what do they do with the book? If you're lucky, they put it on a bookshelf. Right? So they create English in their mind, but you don't know what they're creating in their mind, right? So if they keep a notebook, they have something visual. Your challenge is to make it useful for them to have a vocabulary notebook. If you just tell them, they go, sure, teacher, but they don't do it. They don't use it. Only the best students will use it. So in class, you must make opportunities for them to use it. So in class, end of class, write down 5 words, useful words you learned today. Gemsbach, whatever. Okay, good. Next day in class, open your vocabulary notebook. With a partner, make sentences with 3 words. Or write, for homework, write 3 sentences with words you found useful. Or today we have a quiz. You can use your vocabulary notebook during the quiz. Wow. Every student will use a vocabulary notebook if you tell them that. Okay? If you're taking notes, take notes in your vocabulary. Make it something useful. Okay? Absolutely one of the best ways to help your students build vocabulary. Because our brains are very small. Mine's getting smaller, I think. So this is the extra memory for your brain. Okay? If you want some tips or ideas, just go to any website or just go to Google Naver vocabulary notebook. You can find lots of ideas there. Here's some grammar, and I won't go ahead here. Solar system. These are the video activities preview while you watch talking activities here. There's our cheetah versus the Gemsbach. Okay, and some review sections like Kilimanjaro and the non-fiction reading. Okay, I think I am out of time. This is my email address. If you have any questions, any thoughts, ideas, please feel free to write to me. I'm also happy to give you my name card. As you use our material, if you love it, let us know. If you hate it, let us know. We are always looking for people to review and tell us about what they think about our books and tell us what do learners in Korea, what do teachers in Korea need. Thank you very much.